2022-23, it was my last year in the classroom as an 8th grade ELA teacher. I was in Miss Perrin's room, and a group of 7th graders had come down to me on the red team, and their average score was 39%. 39% what, you say? 39% proficiency, meaning basically 4 out of 10 of them could read on the 8th grade level. And on the second day of school, I just looked at them and said, I don't believe it. I do not believe it. I said, I bet a chunk of you were not really trying on the test. And of course, being middle school students, they were completely honest with me. They actually were. And they said, yeah, we didn't really try. They said they kind of tried. And that's exactly, I think, honest. And I really appreciated that. And I said, well, what would it look like? What do you think? What do you think you could do if all of us tried? So on our team, we had about 120 students. What could we get to? And we threw out some numbers. And we agreed a realistic expectation for that year would be 50%. 50%, half of the class could score a 3 on the SBAC. Remember, it's scored out of 4. And during this week, your teachers are also going to share your scores with you so you have some incentives and some goals. So, guess what happened? Did they score 50%? On that test? No, they did not. They actually went beyond it. They got 64% proficiency. And I know, and what I've shared with all of your teachers this year, is that is not really a reflection on my great teaching. That is a reflection on me being able to convince them that they should try. And that's what happened. So what would happen with our whole school on all these tests? No one really knows, because I don't think it's ever happened. So let's figure out some reasons. Why should you try, other than me saying you should try? Well, let's get to it. So let's get to it. These testing demons, these test ghosts, they're going to haunt you the rest of your life. You have to face them. You have to turn around. You got to stop running away from tests. They're going to come after you the rest of your life. It's not fair, but it is the world that we live in. And so I would encourage you, knowing that the testing pressure is only going to increase as you get older, that you look at SBAC testing as practice for your future. Listen to your teachers. Listen to them when they're trying to give you advice and tips and try to help you. Listen to them. They know what they're talking about. Now, I know some of you are like, you know what? I'm not going to college. I am going to work at the post office. That seems like a pretty cool job. I'm going to ride around that little truck in rain, sleet, snow. I'm going to walk with my mail bag. I am just going to be a mailman. I don't want to go to college. I don't want to take tests. I am done after high school. Oh, no, you're not. You are not done. You have to take a test. You have to study the test, and it's actually very similar to the SBAC test. I know. Some of you are like, you know what? I want to go into teaching. I'm just going to get my bachelor's degree. I'm going to get my little degree and put it on my wall. I'm going to get my master's degree. I'm going to even get my doctorate degree like Dr. Alfieri. So you've got all those degrees, and you're like, just let me teach. No, you can't teach. You have to pass this test. What? I paid $200,000 for all these degrees. Can't I just go teach? No, you cannot, says the world. The world says you got to take this praxis exam. And it's brutal. And it costs like $300 or more. It's awful. But that's the world we live in. Oh, I want to be a lawyer. Got to take a test. Got to take the bar exam. I want to be a realtor. Got to take a test. Got to take the PSI real estate exam. And it's just like SBAC. It's set up the same way. The questions are similar formats. And then maybe you're like, well, I'm going to Ellis Tech. I'm not that book and pencil kid. I just want to get in that shop, work the shop for 9 weeks, go to class for 9 weeks, get that over with. and we'll be good to go. Oh, I have some bad news for you. Before we get to the bad news, what is with that girl on the right? If you go to Ellis Tech, will your finger glow like that? Kind of reminds me of E.T. Anyway, unfortunately, after you go to Ellis Tech, after you graduate, you can't just go out into your trade. You have to take a test. You got to take a test. It's just like the SBAC. You got to take the electrician test. And this is what it looks like. This is an actual question from the test. And although it looks extremely complicated, I will just tell you right now, in order to answer this question, it just requires basic math. The math that some of you don't even like, and you say, when am I going to use this in the real world? I just want to go to Ellis Tech. I am done with academics. Get me out of here. Bad news for you. You better make sure you pay attention in math class, because that math is going to keep coming back and coming back and coming back. You cannot escape academics at Ellis Tech. Well, no, what about this? Cosmetology. I just want to do hair, right? Oh, no. Bad news for you. Not only do you have to do 1,500 hours, you have to pass the test, the State of Connecticut board exam. And it's just like SBAC. Here's one of the questions off the cosmetology test. The pH scale measures which of the following? Wait a second. Miss Zangrel, Mr. Morrill, Miss Germain, Miss Crowley, doesn't that sound like something to you? Sounds like science. Sounds like basic science that you would get while you're in class here in order to pass the test to become a cosmetologist. Wait, is that even a word? Wait a minute. A hairdresser, a barber. You have to know science. You probably have to know math too. Oh, maybe Vinny Baker there, you're going to be an NFL quarterback. I've got some bad news for you. You have to take a test. The Wonderlic scores. 2015, here's the test scores that are publicly put out there for quarterbacks. In 2015, Tyrod Taylor. He didn't do so well. Yes, it's called the Wonderlic test. And this is what the questions are like. When the letters are rearranged in Angieretin, you get the name of a. So you would have to rearrange the letters of that and quickly answer the question. And obviously, we know what that is. You can see me in the hallway, and I'll give you a little prize if you can figure that out. So that concludes the end of part 1, that tests will haunt you forever. And the main point is, you might as well use this year to start looking at these tests and to start pushing yourselves when things get difficult as a way to prepare and to practice for the tests that are coming up in your future. Pay close attention to your teachers as they give you basic tips for these kinds of tests. And again, I challenge you to look at this not as something that is dreadful and awful, as something that's happening to you in middle school, but now that you have more information, look at it as practice for your future. And just remember, when things get tough, when you have that question that's really challenging you, that's when you don't want to give up. That's when you want to stay with it.